Morning, guys. Happy Monday. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Hopefully you guys are ready to get after it today, right? Make something great, create something great in your practice. Monday's always my favorite day. I love to relax over the weekend and have some moments and do some fun things, and then get that rest that I need to. Get a few videos or a few things that I read, or some things I write in my journal or read back in my journal to get fired up for Monday. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, about how to not attach yourself to the outcome. I remember as a doc, when I was practicing, I was young, I would hear some of the masters talk about that, and not just in our profession, master coaches in life or performance coaches, because so much of my upbringing was playing sports. So much of it was outcome based, right? You had to perform really well in order to do well on the field, right? But I think in life it's a lot different, So I wanted to touch on that. I want to talk about that. Before I do, I wanted to ask that you guys do a favor for me and the time and energy that I give you guys, and let's help out other docs, other chiropractors out there that you think this would be valuable to. So make sure you like the video and make sure you share them. Share them to some groups, share them to some other docs, private message them, whatever. But I think there's value for other docs to hear this if they resonate with me, if you resonate with me. So let's talk about detaching yourself from the outcome. So we can use it really in a pragmatic way often, and I've been there too. You open up your office and you're like, geez, I've got all this money I got to pay for student loans, and I've got a mortgage now, an electric bill, and payroll, and so what starts to happen, and you don't even know that it's happening, but it's starting to happen, where so much of what you do then becomes less about them, and it doesn't mean that you're positioning that way, but it becomes less about them and more about maybe not even yourself personally, but about sustaining your practice, right? And then what happens often is our life gets bigger and you do better, right? Then all of a sudden what happens is you start making more money, and then you start creating a bigger life. Hey, I got to get a car. I got to get a new car. My car's on the edge. I'd like to get a bigger apartment. Maybe you have a significant other in your life. All these things start to develop. All these things start to happen. And what happens many times is we never get out of that mindset, because as we grow, our life grows. As our life grows, expenditures grow. Then what happens is you're always kind of in that, I want to do well, I want to do things well. We start measuring success on how much you make, or maybe how many people you're seeing, and then what happens is it all becomes outcome based. When people don't follow, it affects what you vision as your outcome, and it creates unhappiness. It could create depression. It could create frustration. It certainly will tell you it creates apathy. I mean, there's no doubt about that, right? You almost get disgusted either with yourself or the situation, and then you go through periods where, like, well, the hell with it, I don't care, and that's the dark side of practice, and I see it affect us as chiropractors in a big way, because we don't just have to overcome the running of an office. We don't have to just overcome taking care of people and managing a staff. We don't have to just overcome making sure we do the right thing. We have to overcome the misunderstanding of what it is we do. We have to overcome the judgment or the lack of appreciation of what we do as a chiropractor, our service and the value of it. So I think it's more prone or prevalent within our profession. So one of the things I want to share with you is this. As I went along and I worked with these great mentors and teachers, Reggie Gold was probably my biggest mentor in my life in practice. My dad was my biggest one in life. But what I realized when I watched my mentors, the real masters, is they definitely found joy in what they did rather than looked for happiness. And what I mean by that is happiness is really outcome based. Happiness is finite. Happiness is, hey, this happened and now I'm happy. Or this didn't happen and now I'm unhappy. And it really became that outcome-based mentality. With the masters, what I found was they realized that joy, that inside, that spirit of fulfillment and impact was in love combined with it, was in the process. That I guess a different way to look at it is, rather than looking at it from a patient-to-patient standpoint or a day-to-day standpoint, they looked at it as far as what they did and the impact they brought and the joy of the process over their lifetime. So whatever happened in those moments was almost, I don't want to say meaningless, but it certainly didn't have the weight that it had on me, certainly in those times when I was coming up as a chiropractor. And I just found them to have so much joy that almost irrespective in detaching yourself of the numbers, and I'm not saying not to do those, but detaching yourself from the numbers or detaching yourself from the money, detaching yourself from all of it, and just being lost in the fulfillment and the impact that you can have as a chiropractor, and the fulfillment you'll have in doing what you do, and the love of touching people and taking care of children and taking care of seniors, and the conversation of health and wellness, and really getting into what it is the adjustment does from a spiritual standpoint and from a mechanical standpoint, from a clinical standpoint. It just became fun. It became joyful. And what I found was the less outcome-based I became, and again, you don't start off that way. You're not even thinking that way, right? But the less outcome-based I became, the more joyful I became, the more fulfillment I felt, the more fun I had in practice. And the bigger the practice grew, the more growth we had. Certainly you had to work on yourself, and you had to work on protocols and procedures and all those things. But in the act of doing, I really connected it to just loving what I do and the joy of doing what I do. And to this day, whether it's a guy that I've been taking care of 30 years, whether it's a woman who brings her child in for the first time, whether we have a woman who's pregnant who's so excited about bringing her infant in to get checked right after birth, like no matter what it is, there's just such a huge appreciation, recognition, and joy that I feel in practice. And the more you feel that, the more successful you'll be. And I think the more joyful your life is, because you're not measuring every day whether or not you had a good day on the golf course or not. You know what I mean? You're measuring each day on the fun and joy you had by being around the people that you had on the golf course, and not necessarily what your score was or whether you hit a good shot or a bad shot. Like just being there was great. Just going into your office was great. Just being around a bunch of people, regardless how many there, was great. It's a mindset. It's something to think about. It's something that I think a lot about after been practiced for 30 years. And I wanted to share that today. I had watched some and read some things that I had written down and done myself, and I wanted to bring that, and hopefully you guys find it valuable. So guys, I'm Dr. Joe Borio. I'm founder of Chiropassion Consulting. We do a consulting group. We have an online subscription program. We have a mentorship program. We've got a lot of different levels of involvement with coaching. You can do some one-on-one with me. We have everything online. I mean, it's just fantastic. We have CA training, which is great. And when you talk about marketing and you talk about talking and having better communication and certainty and clarity and science, unbelievable, phenomenal content to really grow your practice, have more fun, have more joy, like we talked about today, low overhead, more families, not necessarily working less, but not being so attached to your practice that you can't have a life, right? How do you practice without being, having it be all encompassing? I grew up in a family that owned a restaurant. I mean, talk about being married to the business, and I knew at an early age, like, I didn't want to do that. That wasn't joyful for me. That wasn't something that I wanted to do. It looked stressful and it looked exhausting, and I wanted to do other things on the weekends, not just be in the kitchen, if you will, working all the time. So I don't want you to have that in your practice. I don't want you to be there late at night doing records and notes and having to be stressed about going in on the weekends all the time to do things, and every weekend having to do a screening and outside talk. Not saying then we never got to do that, but I don't want your life to be that way. So listen, how do you get a hold of us? Hit the link above. Set yourself up for a free coaching call. It brings you to Acuity. Love to hear your story, what's going right, maybe what challenges you're having, what obstacles you think you're having for growth, regardless of what level you're at. If you're just starting out, we've got a program to just get you rocking and rolling in practice, and we got layouts for your practice from every aspect of how to negotiate a lease. I mean, you name it, we've got you covered. If you're in practice and struggling, we certainly have got some programs to get you kicking ass in practice. And if you're doing maybe, I talked to a lot of docs. I just had a few docs that joined us a few weeks ago, and they are rocking. I mean, they were doing really well, but you know what? They were like, I wanted to do more. I felt like there was more in me. I wanted to be involved with a group of other docs that are on the same path, the same journey. So really, regardless of where you're at, Chiropassion, coaching, being part of our group, being part of our group of docs that are really in the same direction to make a big impact in your life certainly is going to be very powerful for you to achieve your goals and success. So I love sharing stuff with you, and that's why we're doing an Oklahoma event. It's going to be November 6th and 7th. We start Friday at 4 o'clock. We go right till 9, and then we go right into the evening with a party. It's a riot. I got my cowboy hat. I got my cowboy boots, so I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun hanging out with my boys out there in the Midwest. And then we're going to go all day Saturday. Science, clarity, practice management, CA training, CA breakout. We've got all different types of information to really bring you something that you can implement on Monday. It's not about a sales pitch on Chiropassion. My attitude is I'm going to go out there and give you the best of Joe Borio that I can give you. And if it resonates with you, you'll want to be part of the group. If it doesn't, then at least take what you can and go hit it. If it's a first time to the event, first timers, it's $199, and that covers all your fees, and that covers your whole team. So if you got 3 chiropractors in there and 2 CAs or whatever, everybody's covered under that $199 if it's your first time. What I'm most proud of, guys, is this building that I'm in right here. Not my car, not my house, not all that fun material stuff, right? This is what I'm most proud of. These offices, these tables that have been with me almost 30 years, and the tens of thousands of adjustments we've done on those. And for me, my joy that I want to bring with you guys every time I do a video is just that you're so important. You're so impactful. You have an enormous amount of value to bring to the world. And we as chiropractors, we need to join together and bring that value to the rest of the world. We need to do it together. We need to do it together as a group, as a collective group, as a collective force. We need to talk well to ourselves, and we need to talk well about each other so that we can bring this beautiful gift that was discovered by Dee Dee and BJ Palmer, that we can bring into the world so everyone can benefit from what we bring to healthcare, to allowing their body to be better connected and to create a healthier world. Just think, if the world thinks like an inside out, if we think innate, if we think philosophically, if we think, wow, there's this great energy, force, intelligent, and it's always giving, and it's always loving, and it's always trying to express itself at 100%, and you take your life and live your life that way, not just how you think about how you practice as a chiropractor, right? But if you think about, wow, there's this beautiful, intelligent, loving force that's driving all of our lives. I mean, it's a different way to live your life, right? And it's a better way to live your life. And I really believe that is the biggest, one of the more beautiful messages that Stevenson brought, and Dee Dee brought, and BJ Palmer brought when they talk about innate intelligence and universal intelligence. It's really something that I think guides all of our lives. And if you release yourself to that process, find joy in what you do, don't attach yourself to the outcome, realize you are valuable and important, and you're going to make a difference in people's lives, and think about what differences you can make, wow, I mean, who wouldn't want to be a chiropractor? And who wouldn't want to be under chiropractic care, right? Make yourself more attractive to that vision, to that mission. All right, I'll quit rambling. Love and appreciate you guys. Listen, click the link above. Get on a free coaching call with me. Maybe you're ready to join. Jump right online. Join the program. Love to have you part and a member of our program. Lastly, we're going to be in Oklahoma. Don't forget to join us in Oklahoma November 6th and 7th. Love and appreciate you guys. Remember, go out there, hit it today, do your journaling, and live your life with passion. Better yet, live your life with chiropassion. Talk to you guys soon.